Welcome to BITV, your fortnightly recap of global business intelligence and analytics news, views and reviews. Now there's been a lot of talk about big data over the past fortnight, and so that's where we're going to focus our attention. The first story we came across was written by self-confessed hacktivist enthusiast Mike Wheatley on SiliconAngel.com, and it was entitled, "How the Gambling Industry is Betting on Big Data." Now, aside from the corny headline, Wheatley offers some interesting examples of how some startups are employing the use of analytics tools and functionality to effectively play the odds and help punters beat betting agencies at their own game. Now, one of the great examples that was used was a company called Bettergy, which uses big data analytics to predict the outcome of professional soccer matches, boasting a 90% accuracy for all English Premier League matches. The article that we came across was one on the TDWI's website, and it was by analyst and industry commentator Philip Rossum, and it was called 9 Ways to Get Business Value from Big Data. Now, it begins by citing a 2013 TDWI survey on managing big data, in which 89% of respondents reported that big data presents a significant opportunity, up from 70% in TDWI's Big Data Analytics survey in 2011. Now, although the consensus is that big data presents new opportunities for business, the article says that few organisations are actually getting the business value they want from big data today. And so this article offers 9 suggestions to change that current status quo. The primary path to business value is through analytics. That's the first tip. And it's not enough just to capture the present information, you must action it through analytics. Number 2, explore the new data types and sources that big data presents in order to discover new business opportunities. 3, start analysing the big data you already have. 4, focus on analysing the type of big data that's valuable to your specific industry. Number 5, make a leap of faith into unstructured data. So he talks about the fact that this could provide visibility into such things as text-laden business processes, such as claim processes in insurance, and sentiment analysis in customer-oriented businesses. 6, expand your existing customer analytics with social media data. 7, complete your customer views by integrating big data into them. 8, he says, improve older analytic applications by incorporating big data. And number 9, he says, accelerate the business into real-time operation by analysing streaming big data. The third big data related story that we came across was one on WashingtonPost.com by Samuel Absman, an applied mathematician, network scientist and senior scholar at the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation. Absman says that big data holds the promise of harnessing huge amounts of information to help us better understand the world. But when talking about big data, there's a tendency to fall into hyperbole. So his article, 5 Myths About Big Data, aims to deflate some of that hype. The first myth that he talks about is big data has a clear definition. That's just not true. I mean, he does say that big data is characterised by the 4 V's of volume, variety, velocity, and veracity. But then he goes on to say that the term is thrown around so often nowadays in so many contexts, including science, marketing, politics, and sports, that its meaning is becoming vague and ambiguous. The second myth he talks about is that big data is new. Now, the term big data has been in circulation since at least 1990, he claims, and it's believed to have originated in Silicon Valley. And he gives some examples that vast linguistic datasets, for example, go back nearly 800 years. Now, the third myth is that big data is revolutionary. Now, Samuels does admit that it's important and potentially enormously insightful, but it's likely, it's likely to have a modest and gradual impact on our lives, rather than a revolutionary one. The fourth myth is that big data is better. Now, he said that big data is not automatically better. Often, really big data sets could just be a really big mess. And he says that many interesting questions can be explored with quite small data sets. And he finally sort of sums up this point by saying that, give me a quality medium data set over a bad big data set any day. And lastly, he says big data means the end of scientific theories as a myth. And he says having more data won't substitute for thinking hard, recognising anomalies and exploring deep truths. Essentially, big data won't replace the human element of analysis, at least not anytime soon. Now, our fourth story moves away from big data. And we're looking at an article now called Strategies for Decluttering Business Intelligence Dashboard Designs. The article was written by Brian Jones on searchbusinessanalytics.com. And basically, he contends that you need to grab your attention in the right way when designing dashboards for business intelligence. So he says that they must be eye-catching and must catch your eye in the right sort of way by leading you towards the key business metrics you're trying to convey. Jordan says, only show just enough. And what he means by this is he says, summarised information is what business executives are typically looking for on a dashboard screen, as long as they have the ability to easily drill down into detailed data on metrics that pique their interest for deeper analysis. Now, the first strategy that he gives is limit a single dashboard page or tab to no more than 4 to 6 metrics. He says that you should enable users to drill down into data, but no more than 3 levels. He also says that you should use charts, graphs, and simple tables that don't create too much noise for your users. And so he says a good choice are bar charts, bullet lists, and spark lines. He also says that you should make dashboards interactive so that users get more information and so they can customize their data. And finally, he says that the last word on dashboard design should go to the end user. He says that nothing should be set in stone until the end user sees the product that you've worked on. Sticking with data visualization for a moment, Senior BI Analyst for TDC, Jorge Garcia, wrote an engaging article on smartdatacollective.com, and it was called 3 Big Trends in Data Visualization. Now, he begins the article by saying that data visualization is core to BI as it's the means by which data is communicated to end users and its significance. The first trend that he talks about is mobility. And he discusses the fact that the application of mobile technologies to BI has enabled information workers and decision makers to consume data wherever they are. But it's also provided some new considerations when it comes to visualising data, and primarily he's talking about the fact that the new screen size means new considerations for dashboard and report design, as well as the data delivery methods employed. Secondly, he talks about geolocation or location analytics. And he cites a study to begin with from Pitney Bowes that says that more than 80% of all data maintained by an organisation has a location component. Now, along with mobility, the incorporation of mapping and geolocation capabilities into BI applications is having a big effect on the way in which data is visualised. So just think about layered maps and drill downs based on regional metrics. Third and lastly, he talks about data mashups. And so for those of you playing along at home, a data mashup is the process of collecting both structured and unstructured data and integrating it into a single place for analysis. Now, the next article that caught our eye over the past fortnight was one called Pain and Gain, the ROI of BI, and it was by Todd Saunders on informationmanagement.com. Now, Saunders basically talks about the fact that return on investment for BI isn't just a direct one. There are direct measures, but there's also indirect benefits as well as quantitative and qualitative ones. In fact, Saunders argues that true ROI for a BI project is based both on quantitative and qualitative measures. And the qualitative measures usually dwarf the quantitative measures. Now, whilst we don't necessarily agree with this, it's interesting to think about the different types of return on investment that can be yielded from a successful business intelligence project. Saunders also points to the indirect benefits of BI, explaining that it's often the process of business transformation which a BI solution enables that delivers strong business value rather than the BI tool in isolation. Now, somewhat cynically, Saunders also goes on to divulge a list of, in his words, lessons that you need to successfully convey to people who will sign the checks for your BI project. Now, we think that that's a little bit cynical, and you can certainly get a very good direct return on investment from BI, but he points to some other ROI benefits that you may not have initially thought of, so it's well worth your time to check it out and have a read. Now, the last item I want to discuss today is a LinkedIn conversation on the Business Intelligence Professionals group. And it's called, What, in your honest opinion, is the most valuable outcome or benefit of a successful business intelligence implementation? And as usual, a big range of opinions and responses are expressed, from the ability to take actions on insights to enlarging the number of employees within an organisation who have access to factual information in a controlled way, and providing the means to mitigate risk. So have a read and get involved. Well, that's it for another instalment of BI TV. We'll catch you next time.